We are here and back with Kiko and Bella for our weekly podcast. And this week's topic is the truth about the essential fat. And welcome, Bella. I'm so happy to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too, Kiko. You look great as always.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Yes. So, Anna, you look fantastic.
Thank
And as usual, Bella was humming the music. What was that? Which music?
Oh my God. I was humming I Put a Spell on You. Do you know that song?
Oh yeah. Oh, I
We have my students have their Halloween piano recital this Saturday. And I am sorry to admit I'm a bad example. I put my own songs off until the very last minute. And so I am frantically trying to get the arrangements down and because I always perform at our recitals. So I've been practicing it like all afternoon, so it's in my head.
Oh, that's so nice. Are you gonna be sharing some portion of your recital like last time?
Sure.
I would love
Yeah.
that.
I'll share a little bit of myself singing. I don't like to put my kids on because it just seems unethical. but but I'll put some of my performance up there. Yeah, it's an online recital. So that way all of my students from all over can see each other. Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh,
So
great.
it'll already be easy to record. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So yeah, as for me, I just came back from a very intense 4 days
Yeah.
tour guiding,
How was
and
that?
so, sorry.
How was that?
Oh, it was amazing. It was very intense, and it was actually quite stressed. Not because of my client. Client was she was from New York. New York is my
Yeah.
second home to me, and she was traveling alone. She was just absolutely gorgeous, and inside out. And yeah, she said that. Oh, I had many guys, but you were definitely my favorite. I loved. It was great, and but because it was my first time being away from home 4 days in a countryside, there are a lot of things that I wasn't familiar with. So yeah, I was quite nervous, but yeah, she gave me that word last day as we were parting. So she was very happy, and I was relieved. So I
Mhm.
slept well, and it was fantastic. And
I'm so glad to hear that.
yeah, thank you. And another big trip is coming in a few days, so I'm gonna prep for that.
Wow.
And I'm back uh, with my coconut. My husband prepared this for me, so I'll be enjoying.
How nice.
Yeah,
So
you
nice
know.
too, with your
so-
snacks and everything.
Yeah, thank you. And today's topic is the essential fat,
Mhm.
and I'm super excited. And maybe we can talk about coconut fat as well towards the end.
Sure.
So yeah, Bella, would you like? Maybe we can share also a little bit about ourselves. For myself, I have been on a high raw vegan over 21 years, and I have been going up and down with this diet, but definitely this diet has saved me. And this is just the baseline for me to feel great and thrive. And that's why I'm here on this platform, to share that there are some options that people might know. So yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing, Kiko. My name is Bella, and I've been plant-based for something like 30 years. And it's also been an up and down journey for me as well, trying to figure out get the right balance of nutrition and how to eat enough. We live in a world that isn't exactly plant-based, and you have to do a bit of studying to figure it out. So I have some formal training, done a lot of experimenting, and now I write a blog called Raw Vegan No Friends, where I try to share as much as I can about nutrition and what I've learned. And Kiko and I get together each week to try and share what we know together and make it a little more fun. And so today we're going to talk about essential fats, which is it's one of my favorite topics in nutrition. So I'm looking forward to jumping right in.
Yay, it's
Shall we?
great. Yes, let's do that. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so it's actually very simple. I could tell you in like just a few sentences what you need to know. But of course, we'll go into more details because that's how you learn, that's how you become inspired, and that's how you start to apply the concepts into your life. Basically, there are different types of fatty acid chains, and so that's what they look like when you look at them in a microscope. They look like chains, and there are different types of essential fatty acid chains, and the ones that we tend to think about the most are omega 6s, omega 3s, omega 9s. And we're going to talk about these three different ones, but here's the simple breakdown. Here's what I could tell you in just a few sentences to get you started. If you were going to just trust me and like not care about like anything else, I'll just tell you this. It's very important to make sure you get enough omega 3s in your diet, because if you don't get enough omega 3s, what happens is the omega 6s become overpowering, because pretty much everything you eat contains omega-6 fatty acids.
Mm.
We need omega-6s, okay? We need them. And we'll talk about that in a moment too. But just quick summary, it's harder to get omega-3s. You have to make more of an effort to get omega-3s in your diet. If you have not enough omega-3s, the omega-6s become too dominant, and it causes inflammation. And inflammation is at the root of every health problem.
Mm.
Every health problem. Like anytime you've ever had an issue and you go and you look it up and you Google it, you find out it's inflammation. It's everything. So the secret to having a strong immune system, first of all, for prevention, and also vanity things like good skin.
Mm.
You need to have a balanced omega-3 profile. So we'll talk a little bit about those two different ones, and we'll talk a little bit about what omega-9s are. That's kind of interesting. And personally, it's fun for me because olive oil is the omega-9, and it's very controversial ingredient in the raw food community, and controversy can be fun. Okay, so shall I just keep going, Kiko, or do you have any questions?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, all right. So omega-3s are the fats we talk about when we talk about flax seeds and chia seeds, hemp seeds, walnuts. And for the non-vegans of the world, they talk about fish oil, which I was so happy when I learned about something in my nutrition course when it comes to fish. So omega-3s are very sensitive to high heat, to temperature. So, well, Kiko, you're in Japan and your culture is known for eating raw fish. And so when you eat raw fish, you actually are getting the omega-3s because it's not cooked. But when you cook salmon, so salmon is known as being this, that's where I think a lot of the fish oil comes from, because it's high in omega-3s. But most people cook salmon. And so the omega-3s, I don't know how many of them actually survive by the time you get it on your plate. Because and think about it, a salmon is a cold water fish. So it cannot survive in warm water. And all the omega-3s are preserved in cold water fish. That's why also the Mediterranean diet is known for eating cold water fish. I think it's cold water fish. Like you know what? I'm not really. I hope I'm not wrong on this. Since I don't eat fish, I haven't made it a priority. But I feel like I've heard people call like the canned fish cold water. I don't know. But we're raw vegans, so we're going to focus on plant-based stuff. And so that's one of the reasons why also we don't really want to focus on flaxseed oils or hemp seed oils for our omega-3s, because the problem is that whenever oils get exposed to oxygen, to air, it starts to go rancid.
Mm,
So I'm not a believer in, I'm not anti-oil at all. I'm not a oil-free raw vegan, but I don't think that flaxseed oil is a good source of omega-3s. I think it's better to get the whole seeds and to blend them up yourself. So
mhm,
you know how you can buy you can buy flax seeds and chia seeds in their whole form, or you can buy the chia seeds ground. Whenever possible, it's better to get the whole seed and then grind it yourself, because the moment you grind
mhm,
it up, it starts to go rancid. The oxygen will start to make it go rancid. It will oxidize it. So you grind it up yourself, put it in your smoothie or put it on your salad or whatever. And same thing goes with chia seeds. It's I know it's very popular to eat chia seeds as like a chia pudding, you know, um, or like a chia seed cracker. But to ensure you get the maximum amount of omega-3s, it's better to break it up. It's better to grind.
mm,
So I'm sure you're getting some omega-3s when you eat them like that because your teeth are grinding it, but your
mhm.
teeth are not grinding all of the seeds. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I have been focusing a lot on omega-3 fatty acids because I've noticed, as a raw vegan, I started to have noticed inflammation. And, I asked ChatGPT, well, I've also done the chronometer. And when I checked omega-3 and 6 ratio, omega-6 was surprisingly very high.
Mm.
Although, I focus on omega-3 fatty acids, like walnuts is known to be a good omega-3 fatty acid source. But if you are not mindful with chia seeds and flax seeds, are for sure more high on omega-6, which is inflammatory
It's true.
fats. And yeah, I have been really, really focusing. And I have to say, in the beginning, I've shared with you with Dr. Brooke Goldeners, known for Goodbye Lupus. Uh, she recommends was 8 tablespoons of chia seeds or flax seeds, and I was taking maybe 3 to 4 tablespoon a day, but I started to add 4 to 5 tablespoons into my morning smoothies. And in the beginning, my stomach was really bloated. And now my body got used to it. And if I may add into that processed oil, I completely agree what all you have shared, Bella. You know, I think we should all go for whole food to begin with. And I love how you explained about that extracted oil can be rancid easily, and that's one of the reason I haven't had any extracted oil, like not even uh, extra virgin olive oil, all of that. But because I was in, I had some inflammatory issues this year, I started to incorporate uh, extra extra virgin flaxseed oil, I think. And I'm very, very careful. Like I don't carry around. I just keep it in the fridge,
Mhm.
and it's very short period of time that I'm trying it out. But I agree everything you said. Like on also flax seeds, this flax seed, you put it in a dehydrator, you can make a flaxseed cracker. And yeah, I used to do it, but I don't do it anymore. One, because I noticed that I didn't digest well, and I don't think our body breaks it well when it's in such a constant, and not being in powder. And also it goes rancid, right? When you keep it, it doesn't. it doesn't stay fresh.
Yeah. One thing you can do if you want to make crackers is you can, mm, I would recommend you grind it up into a flour. Um, or, I was going to say soaking the seeds can be beneficial and then blending it into
Mm,
sort of like a dough. That way, soaking it helps you digest the seeds better. Blending it helps you digest the seeds better, and you get more of the omega-3 benefits that way.
mhm. But
Yeah.
doesn't it go rancid if, well, if you eat it right away, it's okay. But if you keep it just like a cracker for, eat it within few weeks, that would go rancid, right?
Well, you could put it in an airtight glass container,
Mm,
like a mason jar or like
mm,
one of those Pyrex
mm,
glass. They're sealed pretty tightly,
mm,
and eat it within a week, maybe. I
mm,
probably wouldn't go any longer than that, but
mm. Yeah,
yeah, because anytime it's exposed to air, it's going
yeah.
to hurt. But then you try to get it in there and seal it up really quickly. I've become one of those people who, whenever I take my flax seeds out of the fridge, I keep it in a mason jar, and as soon as I put the seeds in my smoothie, I seal it up again. Like I try not to leave it open
Mm.
because of what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah, you're very careful. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, and another thing about this, you know, processed food. So like oil, like extra virgin oil and flax seeds that um, is in a glass container or like supposedly low
hmm
heat process.
hmm
Um, there's there are multiple things. Like I'm using flaxseed oil for a short period of time, but I'm mindful that that we don't know exactly what they have done. For example, extra virgin olive oil. I heard that 80% of what's being in the market apparently they mix with some other oil.
yeah.
Right, and I'm not sure if it's the truth right now, but apparently that happens quite often. That even though if it says 100% extra virgin olive oil, high quality,
hmm
they've done the research of all that in the market, and majority
Yeah.
was actually mixed with the oil that we don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, once you see it in a package, or we don't see the whole form, we you know we don't know exactly. I mean, it's impossible to track down what has been done in that container. So I am mindful of that. And one more thing is that we're the salmon oil. I actually was not aware that once it's heated, the omega-3 fatty acids goes down. Again, I'm raw vegan, so that's not my concern, but that's interesting.
It is, isn't it? That's
Mm.
why, like every time, David wants to eat salmon or something, I'm just like, yeah, you're not getting the omega threes because it's cooked. Because people who eat fish love to talk about how they need the fish for the omega threes, and it's like only if you eat it raw. But then, like the whole raw fish thing, is like, ugh, parasites, like, ugh. And I know we're not talking about that today, but the thing about the olive oil is like so frustrating because I
Mm.
started hearing about this a few years ago because here in California, we have our own olive oil industry in California. And so every time I'm in like an agriculture based town, I'll go to one of these olive oil shops and I'll buy the local olive oil because a long time ago I was at one of these shops and the owner tipped me off to that. She told me, she was like, there's a big controversy right now in the
Mm.
olive oil market. A lot of these olive oils are not really olive oil, and the practices is really questionable. So I'm with you. I still eat olive oil, but I try to be so careful about where I'm getting it from. I
Mm,
trust the small farms here in California. I'm very lucky to live in a place where I can get it. Not everybody has that option, but you can also do your own research and find out about the company you're buying the olive oil from as well. And you can order
mm.
from small farms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had olive oil because I used to love them, and I went through Mediterranean countries for 6 months when
Mhm.
I left New York and coming back to Japan, and the quality there is so different, and I truly love the aroma and taste of extra virgin olive oil, but I have stopped taking it because I noticed the inflammation every time I take it. My
Mhm.
body became very super sensitive. So it's
Mhm.
something that everyone has to go through their own. Some people are okay um, with certain amount of fats. Like my husband doesn't see much of a difference. So Creative Heart, say hello. Hi.
Hi, Creative Heart. Nice to see you.
You. Yeah. So, okay. Another good is omega-3 fatty acids is seafood. Seafood, of course, but seaweed, right?
Oh, omega threes and seaweed.
Uh-huh.
I could see that, but I'm not aware of it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
It's interesting. So wakame, we,
Oh.
um, with research, they found the one of the secrets of Japanese health was in seaweed because well, we are in the nation of eating a lot of seafood, including seaweed, right? And I mean, it's true that we have so many varieties of seaweed. Wakame, nori, which is for, they use it for sushi. And we have so many small, different kind of seaweed that we are just, we grew up with, we don't even question. It's all over our Japanese food. And I think Americans found with the research that, well, what's the secret of Japanese health? And we have, Japanese women's health, well, Japanese hair. We
Mhm.
know for like a very full
Yeah.
and strong hair. And yeah, they wanted to bring that into American diet, and apparently Americans back then couldn't digest the seaweed,
Hmm.
with different DNA, and they,
Hmm.
when you say, just like when I introduce a lot of omega-3, like chia seeds and flax seeds, when I try to include it all of the sudden, like my body was like, wow, what is this? And I was,
Ah,
like my body, I felt so tired. Um,
interesting.
yeah, you have to go very slowly. And yeah, I'm now re-embracing this seaweed world because it's a lot less fat. It's not fat, right? But there is some omega-3 fat uh, in it.
Yeah, seaweed is something I'm trying to become more in touch with.
Mm,
Throughout the years, I've gone back and forth on seaweed, and now I'm going into a phase of my life where I want to incorporate more of it because I'm really fascinated by the detoxification elements of seaweed. It's
mm,
really interesting, and I don't really know a lot about it. We learned a little bit about seaweed in my course, but not a ton. And I would love to hear more of your thoughts. It would be cool to do a whole episode
mm.
on seaweed.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, for the next maybe some other time.
Before I before I add to that, let me read Creative Heart's message because she's on the topic of seaweed. I have raw nori, wakame, I think that's dukkha, right? Kombu. Kiko, what is a good way to use wakame?
Wakame, I just like, the typical ways here in Japan, we eat a lot of daikon radish. Daikon radish is excellent for detox and losing fat and weight. So if you are looking into, detox and losing fat, definitely eat maybe half a cup a day before the meal. And usually here in Japan, we will just grate it and mix it with soy sauce and wakame, and that's it. Oh, and we add some lemon or lime, like some kind of citrus fruits in season. We just squeeze it, and as simple as that. And we usually eat that, before starting our meal. And I think that's one of the reason that it's just we don't even question, like, non-raw vegans, we eat this on a daily basis. And there was a time that I was gaining weight, and when I started doing this raw daikon and wakame, that had a great I was able to lose weight very quickly. So and wakame is very, I think it's versatile, so I just add it in my salad.
Wow. I'm going to try to start adding more seaweed because I feel so good when I eat it.
Oh, okay.
And I don't eat it that often, really. When I do, I'm always like, I can tell it's just doing something really special. Creative Heart points out iodine, which I think it's a underappreciated nutrient. It is essential for thyroid function. And because we now eat now in America, we have sort of shunned table salt and we do just sea salt. And for a long time, most people got their iodine from the supplemented form of table salt. So I think some people might not get enough iodine, and you're right. And you can get a lot of it in seaweed.
And it's interesting. She said that Creative Heart is also very sensitive to oil and butters, and I think
Interesting.
yeah. So everyone goes through the different journey, and we have to all find, and there's fine line on balancing everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I I think towards last year, because I started to notice some kind of allergy reaction, like skin rashes and inflammation. And sesame is very much in our diet in Japan. Sesame seeds, sesame oil, tahini, we use it a lot in our Japanese cuisine. And I was very much focused on that because I noticed that olive oil was having, I had some issues. And I said, oh, I should go back to my root and eat more of sesame. And I started to have more some other problem with sesame. And I think when you have too much in your body started to react. So I'm staying away. Now I think my body is balanced with omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids that I can I started to include some of the omega-6 fats like sesame, some extra virgin olive oil. I don't use it at home, but if I go out, it's in my salad. It's okay. I can tolerate.
So let's talk a little bit about the balance between 6 and 3. And sesame also brings up the vitamin E factor, which is helpful to know about. So it's really easy to get enough 3s in your diet. If you just add some flax seeds or chia seeds to your smoothie, or you can add hemp seeds to your salad dressing. That's one way I like to get extra omega-3s. And also leafy greens contain a high amount of omega-3s. So a lot of raw vegans eat a ton of leafy greens. Actually, one of the highest sources of omega-3s is something called purslane. Do you know what purslane is? Yeah, and it's very hard to find in the store, but I see it on the sidewalks all the time. It grows wild.
Yeah.
You can see it. You can forage it quite easily. I don't do that because I get a lot of omega-3s from flax seeds and chia seeds and hemp
Mm.
seeds. So I'm okay there. But sesame reminded me that vitamin E is a really important um, um, vitamin, which it's actually considered to be an antioxidant as well. Remember, I think we talked about antioxidants 2 weeks ago, and we talked about how antioxidants, their purpose is to protect the cells and or the molecules that have lost an electron, they become free radicals. And so an antioxidant is a molecule with an extra free radical. So it donates an electron and therefore uh, gets rid of the free radicals. And so that's how you also protect your body from inflammation. In the case of fat, um, these omega-3s, like we said, they're very delicate. If they are processed with too much heat, they become oxidized and they go rancid. If they get too much air, they become rancid. And so your body is also a warm environment. We tend to be at 98 degrees. It's not too high though. I mean, it's very interesting how when you start thinking about the body and the body's best temperature, you start to think about how raw foodists, we don't warm our food above between 98 degrees and 112 degrees, depending on your philosophy. I tend to go to the max of 112 because I can survive in a desert, and the hottest it gets is 112 in a desert. So, if I can thrive, my food can thrive too. That's my attitude. But with omega-3s, they are quite delicate. And vitamin E is the antioxidant that specifically protects the omega-3s in your body. So trying to get enough vitamin E is also helpful if you're dealing with inflammation issues, or if you're trying to get your skin looking really, really good. You would want to make sure you're getting enough omega-3s in your diet, and then you would want to make sure you're getting enough vitamin E. And I have a list of foods that are high in these. We can go through this. So vitamin E it's pretty easy to get. Raw sunflower seeds, almonds, avocado, spinach, and hazelnuts. It's sesame seeds too. I don't know why I don't have it on here. Maybe it's not as high as I thought it was, but I know that sesame has a lot of vitamin E. But the thing is, when I was doing my beauty food series and I was trying to figure out if I was getting enough vitamin E to have like the powerful skin changing properties, I realized I was getting just enough vitamin E for health, but not for like beauty reasons. So I started taking a vitamin E supplement.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
interesting. So,
Yeah.
okay, so but in that vitamin E's in avocado, sesame, and what else was it?
Sunflower seeds.
Sunflower
Sunflower
seed.
seeds have the highest amount at 7.4 milligrams per ounce.
Yeah, and yeah, but then they're also high on omega-6 fatty acids that could cause inflammation, right?
Yeah.
So supplement might make sense. Yeah, we always try to get it from Whole Foods, but yeah, if it can help. And did you see the difference when you start taking?
I did.
Really? Okay,
I
what was
did.
the difference?
I just noticed. So I've never been a low. Well, I've experimented with low fat raw vegan because it's like so popular. So of course I tried every style of raw veganism throughout the years, and I personally think my skin looks better when I'm
Mm,
eating more fat than what is considered low fat. So I
mm,
don't do high fat, but I think I do just a normal amount of fat. Like I don't go low fat. I have
mm,
fat pretty much every meal, but I try to make it an omega-3 fat. I try to make it a high level of that. And I notice that my skin looks better when I have a lot of when I have a certain amount of fat.
mm-hmm. Interesting. So yeah, Creative Heart says there are many raw foodies that say you can't heal completely eating any fat. Even omega-3 stop healing. The yeah, others says that they are absolutely
Mm,
required to heal. Very confused. Yeah, it could, yeah, definitely confusing. So what
mm.
we can do is, if we are if we feel inspired on certain thing, we just have to try. um
Yeah, I don't agree with it at all. I think it's wrong. I think it's false information. It doesn't make any sense if you really look at the evidence about the balance between omega 3s and omega 6s. Now, some hardcore raw foodists, like more of a, well, they wouldn't be fruitarian, they would be a low fat raw
mm,
vegan diet, will say that you can get it enough on greens. And that's true. If you eat like purslane, if you include purslane in your diet, yeah, you probably could. Yeah, you probably could get enough and you wouldn't need.
mm. Yeah, I think, each we all are different, and this research does help, but at the same time, research changes every year. They're coming up with a new research. Oh, what we believe was actually, we interpreted in a different way, and it's that. And I think it's good to learn and educate ourselves and make sense. What makes sense in individual mind. And Bella and I have been doing this raw vegan diet for a long period of time. So we have gone through different phase. I
Mhm.
have done low fat, like, yeah, 80-10-10, and I didn't feel good. Like there were time at first, certain period of time, we all seem to feel good. But
Mhm.
then when you pass that, honeymoon period, we all seem to feel like, oh, there's something missing. And I do believe fat is important, but yeah, omega-3 fatty acids is definitely the key for me, at least. So,
Well, Creative Heart just pointed out something. You and I are both women, and she says, I think women need fat. Men do
mm,
better on low fat. And I agree with that because we have different hormonal systems than men.
mm,
And our hormonal systems, and I'm not an expert on the hormonal system. I wish I knew more. I've tried to learn what I can when I can find the information. But from what I understand, the female hormonal system really needs an adequate supply of fat, or
mm,
else it starts to go all over the place. So I totally agree with that. Because I tried to do the low fat thing for a long time, the 80-10-10, and I just, I did not feel good. It did not last long for me at all. I ended up feeling like I was on an eating disorder. I felt like I had an eating disorder.
oh
Like I got,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the comment. I went through the same thing, and that, the eating disorder
Mhm,
comments, that's what I kept hearing from other raw vegans as well. Like
mhm.
you have to constantly eating and eating. It's just, yeah, and they just go through a lot of ups and downs. And yeah, I do notice women mention that more than men. And she also, Creative Heart said, if you have done testing, i I have asked my doctor here in Japan, and this test is not easily available. I know in the States it's very easy, and I would love to actually do it, just to see if I, where I am by
Mhm.
test. But yeah, it's not available.
I actually have had mine tested.
Oh, wow.
Not like I didn't go in just to test my omegas. I did like a whole blood work just to test everything. And I
Hmm.
remember being told that my omega 3s were too low.
Oh, when was
Yeah,
that?
this was many years ago. This was before I think I knew anything about this stuff.
Wow.
And well, it might have been, or actually, I think it was before I did my nutrition course and I was trying to figure out which raw vegan path to take. And
Oh,
so I
wow.
might have been doing the low fat thing, you know? And
Mm,
my doctor was like, your omega 3 profile is too low. I
mm.
was like, okay, that's very interesting. And yeah, so yeah, you do whenever we get a blood panel here, it's just part of the testing process.
Right. Interesting. That's great. US is great. US and Europe, certain parts of Europe, it's very easy to get this kind of test. And unfortunately, here in Japan, it's not that easy. But yeah, she honestly, I wish the raw vegan diet was studied more in actual clinical studies. Yeah, I think it would be useful, especially since it can really impact and reverse incurable disease. I totally agree. And yeah, you can't, you can say, oh, this product is a superfood, we should have it. But as you, Bella, was mentioning, it goes in balance, right? It's not just one substance that would do certain effect, right? Like, I don't know, cucumber is great for skin, but if you just eat on cucumbers, you're missing so many other nutrients and oil, good fat in our body. So it's true that it might work in standard American diet, but if someone are in a diet like us, a raw vegan diet, it might need completely different approach.
Yeah, I wish there was more research done. There's some, but not much at all. The closest you can get is studies on whole food plant-based diet and like blue zones type diets, like a Mediterranean type of diet that's highly plant-based, very whole food based. There's a great website, you probably know it, called nutritionfacts.org. Dr. Michael Greger.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
It's a great website. And he tends to focus mainly on whole food, plant-based. And you really can get a lot of information that applies to the raw vegan lifestyle. It's really not that different. I mean, vitamins and minerals are vitamins and minerals, whether they're in a whole food plant-based diet. But the thing that you have to learn about is what the heat does to certain. So a very simple way of thinking about this whenever you're looking at studies is heat destroys vitamins. Heat does not destroy minerals. So, but you have to try to remember it like this. Heat destroys vitamins. That's it. Minerals, it doesn't destroy the minerals, but the minerals leak out into the water, or if it's, I guess if it's being roasted, it actually stays in there. So you don't lose the minerals if it's roasted. But if you boil or steam, the minerals come out of the food, but they go into the water. So
right. So if you cook it, like let's say spinach, if you cook it in a little bit of water, and if you drink the whole juice that comes out of it, the mineral is in it. Yeah.
So when you look at studies, you just have to keep it in mind that, okay, so this study looked at a diet that had cooked carrots instead of raw carrots. And I know if I eat raw carrots versus cooked, I'm going to get way more of that nutrition. So if you're reading a study that talks about the benefits of a whole food plant-based diet, you can feel pretty confident that you're getting an even better amount of whatever it is they find in that menu. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And also, can we talk about the coconut meat?
Sure. Coconut meat that's a saturated fat.
Right. Yes, saturated fat, which is we don't need it, right? Saturated fat, we don't need it. It's funny because I've mentioned to you that I've noticed that I'm very, very sensitive. I became very sensitive to fats, like certain kind of fats. So cashew nuts, if I eat just even tiny bit, I would have reaction. There were times just until recently, tahini, sunflower seeds, what else? Like pretty much everything except walnuts and flax seeds, chia seeds. Everything else, I was having some reaction. But this coconut meat, I don't have any reaction to it. I don't eat it that much, but sometimes I'll just scoop out, or I make coconut wrap, and
Mm.
that's that's a lot, but I don't do it often. That I haven't seen much any negative effect. So, what's your thought on that?
I love coconut meat, and I don't have access. Well, now that I live in LA, I can have access to it again, but I haven't. When I lived in LA before, I used to get it all the time at the Korean market, and I would buy like a whole box of it. And I have some really good recipes I make with it. I'll season it up like a meat, and I'll put in the dehydrator. It's so delicious.
Yeah, it's so good.
But as far as nutrition goes, my attitude about fat is this. Okay, so coconut is not an omega-3 source. Sunflower seeds are not, cashews are not, but I love cashews and I eat them. I eat a little bit of it every day in my salad dressing. And I don't eat sunflower seeds that often, but I think there are a lot of powerful nutrients in them. So every now and then I'll get them into my menu. But my attitude is this: when you have any kind of fat in your diet, try to increase, like, depending on how much, how do I phrase this? Depending on how much of that omega-6 fat you have in your diet, try to balance it out with more omega-3s. So what I started doing when I was doing the beauty food series, and I realized if I want to reach my skincare goals, I'm going to have to increase my fat, which is more omega-6 dominant. So what I did was I increased my omega-3 profile. So instead of just doing flax seeds in the morning, I started putting hemp seeds in my salad dressing. And then I started trying to make chia seed pudding for myself every now and then to try and get as many threes as possible, to try and balance out that you're trying to get the ratio balanced out. That's all. And that's my opinion. That's how I feel about it. So coconut, if I had access to it, I'd be eating it all the time. That's for sure.
Yeah. Me too. They're so good.
So
I just started doing the coconut meat wrap. And I was like, wow, it's so simple, so good. There's so many, I used to also make coconut curry, a raw vegan version, right?
Wow.
And so easy to make it so delicious because it's sweet naturally and sweet and oil. And then you just add a bit of salt and it's perfect meal.
It's such a good ingredient also to serve guests who are not raw vegan.
Yes.
I've done that. I've done that before, and they love it. Like it doesn't even cross their mind that it's a raw vegan dish. It's just so good. I used to make like lettuce wraps with it. So good. But it is a saturated fat, so I would just try to balance it out with a lot of greens, greens, chlorophyll, like we talked about before. Chlorophyll is such a good detoxifier. We're always just trying to balance things out. That's all, That's the best we can do.
Yeah. So Creative Heart said about lentils.
Okay. They block iron absorption. Cooking and sprouting helps. Yeah, that's because of the what's that? I forgot the word. The thing, it's very popular for keto people to criticize vegans with. It's that element that blocks the absorption. And yes, but if you cook them, then they go away. So I understand some people are like hardcore devoted to their raw, so they just can't eat them. But I'm okay with a little cooked, so I just cook my lentils. That's what I do. Sprouting, I don't know if is that true? I didn't know that. I thought that sprouting, okay, you're saying it helps, but not completely. Okay. I don't know. Do you know anything about that, Kiko? If that blocks, is it lectins? Is that the word I'm looking for?
I might have learned, but I don't know. these are, I just feel like these are very much in detail, and some people might need to pay attention. So yeah, it's sorry, it's not in my radar now because it's not my concern. Like for example, I don't mean to deviate this question, answering this question, but Dr. Greger, he mentioned years ago about the combination of banana and berries. That banana and berry smoothie is like the golden. It's like if you mix banana and berries, like everything would taste so good. And I used to do that a lot, but he shared that recent study says that berries are known for, what is it, antioxidant, and there's uh, something in berries that's great in nutrition. When you mix it with banana, apparently it's no longer there, or it just it just goes very to minimum level. So the trick is to drink that smoothie right away. If you let it sit for 5-10 minutes, apparently it just there's no benefit of taking berries in that smoothie. So, but honestly, I love the taste. I'm mindful of that information, the research. I'm really appreciative of that research, but I think we have to enjoy our meals. So.
Well, plus there are probably other benefits that you're getting. You're still getting the vitamin C, you're still getting the potassium, you're still getting
Mhm.
the water content, the fiber. There's still a lot. And the same is true for lentils and other things like spinach. Because of the I want to say it's lectins, but I can't remember the word that blocks iron absorption, iron and calcium. And
Mm.
it's in spinach, it's in I can't remember what else. Um,
Kale, I mean, lots,
no,
all the dark
kale is
leafy.
okay. You can
Mhm.
get the iron. It's okay. It won't be blocked raw.
Mhm.
But I still eat raw spinach every day because there are other elements that the
Mhm.
chlorophyll content is so high, and it's got a lot of vitamin E, and it's a neutral tasting green, so it
Mhm.
makes it easier for me to drink my green smoothie. So yeah, you gotta, and lentils have a lot of really good minerals. So yeah, you don't get the iron. So you try to eat other things like kale or broccoli, where
Mhm.
wait, broccoli actually might not be absorbable. I have to look. I have to go back and look that up. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's something to look into.
I personally don't like sprouted beans. Just like Vela, I like sprouted seeds, so I do that. And yeah, I if I do sprouted lentils, I would just freeze them and make it into patties and
Hmm.
dehydrate them. Then I don't taste that,
Hmm.
sprouted beans taste. So,
Phytates. Okay, that's the word. Yeah, yeah, phytates. Yeah,
thank you.
this is something that it's good to know about as a raw vegan, because you might not be getting enough iron in your diet, or vitamin A, or calcium, which I'm not really too concerned about, because it's blocked by these elements. And it just means you have to try and find it in other sources. And this is true for everybody, regardless of what kind of diet they follow, because
Mhm.
everyone needs to do a little bit of homework. Like I was saying, I have very specific goals. I want to have very smooth skin, and so I want to make sure I'm getting enough vitamin E. And when I look my profile up on Chronometer, I see that I'm getting just enough for health purposes. But if I really want to make sure I'm getting those skin benefits, then I
Yeah.
need to supplement. And so that's what I do, you know?
Yeah, I think in the be like facial cream, they add a lot of vitamin E, and that's like an advertisement
Mhm.
like, oh, we have a lot of vitamin A's. And yeah, when I made my cosmetic, like facial cream, I noticed like we can add the just a vitamin E powder that's supposed to help your skin grow.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Hmm.
That's cool. So what do
Yeah.
you put in your cream?
I don't do it anymore. It was just part of like a workshop that I attended. So I said, "Oh, that's interesting. Vitamin E is good for skin." So yeah, if you can add it externally, yeah, why? Yeah, it would be more interesting to take it as a vitamin, like pill form.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Before we get to the end, because I just realized
Yeah.
normally we do our podcast on Wednesdays, and I have an appointment like right back to back with our
Okay.
podcast. So before we wrap up, I want to point out that I have a whole article on my blog, rawvegannofriends.com, which breaks down this whole topic on essential fatty acids. And there's even for members, there's a ebook that goes into greater detail and even has like a meal plan. My blog article also has a bunch of recipes on here that can help you to get a good amount of the essential fatty acids in the right ratio. Like each recipe has the perfect ratio and even considers vitamin E in there as,
Mm.
as a booster, so to speak.
Great. Excellent. Yeah, definitely check it out. And before I forget, she's asking about cycling for hormonal health. I don't know about this. Bella, do you know?
I don't. It sounds like I would guess what you mean is you maybe ate certain seeds for a period of time and then you switch to another kind and that's interesting. I'm very interested in learning as much as I can about hormonal health. So I'll look into that. I
Mm,
find I find hormonal balances are actually so common, and I think it's something that we don't really we're not educated on our own hormonal systems, and we have so many factors working against us with
mm,
plastics and pollution, not to
mm,
mention all of the animal foods, and the animals are pumped up with hormones, and so
mm.
people who eat meat are getting like way too many hormones in their diet, and I wish we had more information. Oh
Mhm.
good, I'm glad you're going to check out my article, Creative Heart.
Yeah. And yeah, the pearl powder is used a lot also in skincare, especially here in Japan. It just makes your skin glow.
Really?
Um, I'm not sure if it's good for internal. I'm not aware of it. But yeah, I'm vegan, so that's not that's not me in my radar. But
That's interesting. I didn't know about that. I didn't know people were doing that.
it's shiny. It just makes your skin shiny. It's same thing with abalone shell.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's. But anyway, let's focus on what we can do with a whole food plant based. And I always try to go back. This superfood definitely it helps in certain time and in certain condition, but I always go back to whole food plant based, what's locally available, because there's more nutrition when we can get it faster to our body. So
Definitely. I definitely am more of an inside out philosophy when it comes to health. I know that the skin matters and the skin can absorb things. And it's good to know about that. But when it comes to skincare, I do think that it's better to think, what am I eating? Because whatever
mhm.
you eat comes out in your skin. With that said, we should probably wrap it up
Yes.
because I have to get going. But
Yeah, thank
it was
you.
a great
This was so.
conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bella. I really enjoyed, as always. I learned, and I will be a little more mindful of vitamin E. I'm gonna look into that.
And on my website, I actually link to the supplement I use. I trust the Solgar brand. You just have to find a brand you trust whenever it
True,
comes
so
to
important. Yeah.
supplements. you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Great to talk to you, Kiko. Thank
Great.
you,
Yeah.
everybody, for watching.
Thank you, Creative Heart, for your comments as well. We learned so much from you as well. And have a great day, I think. Yeah. For
Yeah.
you.
And you too. I know
See
your
you.
day has just started. So
Yes.
have
Thank
a good
you.
one.
See you next week.